Students, very good morning. Students,
Yes, sir.
please confirm me whether my voice is good or not.
Yes, sir. Audible.
Yeah. So then, so I take the first hour also, second hour as usual. The reason is why I'm taking the first hour also. Monday we have an exam, offline exam, offline module for exam. For offline module for exam, fourth module is going to be the syllabus. Hence, I'm starting now fourth module. Okay. So today 2 hours and Monday also I will cover maximum. Then by that way you can prepare for the fourth module exam. Okay, listen. The fourth module name is subsystem design and layout. Subsystem design and layout. Okay. So what is the subsystem design and layout? We'll discuss. It's a very simple thing, not so much complex. Okay. So come to the point. The topics which we cover in the subsystem design and layout module is, first one is architectural issues. What are the issues in the architecture level? Okay. And second one is switch logic. The logic, the logic is nothing but what? The behavior. Okay. Switch behavior. Okay. So gate logic, switch logic. So like that, we need to discuss the switch logic. Another one is gate logic. The behavior of the gate and the behavior of the switch. How they behaving like a logic levels. And next one is some examples of structural designs. Structural design is a different combination logic here. I am talking about combination logic. Structural design means it is very simple. As you know, the meaning of structural design is nothing but to design a 4-bit adder. We need 4 1-bit full adders. We need 4 1-bit full adders. That is called the structural modeling or structural design. And next topic is sequence circuits. So we need to discuss some sequential logic circuits also. And next one is memory register and aspects of the system timings. Next, storage elements. These are the topics which we will cover in this module, fourth module. Okay, architectural issues, switch logic, gate logic, and structural design, sequence circuits, memory registers, and timing issues, and memory elements. Okay, so come to the point. First, we'll start with the subsystem design. What is the meaning of subsystem? Subsystem is nothing but generally one example. I will take one example. Suppose this is Geetham University. This is Geetham University. Geetham University. So Geetham. So deemed to be university. Okay. This is the system now. This is the system. Okay. In this Geetham deemed to be university, we have different constitute colleges. Different, like engineering college, medical college, and pharmacy college, science college, management college, law college. These are the different institutions. So I can say this is the what? Our GIT. GIT. Okay, again, our GIT has different branches: mechanical, civil, biotechnology, electrical, instrumentation, electronics and communication engineering. Okay, so architecture. So these are the different colleges. Next level is colleges or institutions. This is colleges. Okay, so next one is in our I think ECE department is one of the, then it is a department. So this department GIT, there is a ECE colleges means okay, sorry, departments, GIT department. So then inside there is a, again, first year, second year, third year, fourth year. So these are the, otherwise you can say UG and PG. UG and PG. UG and PG. Okay. Again, inside there is a, that is maybe a first year, second year, like that. So now, when we talk about the system, if you take the Geetham University as a system, GIT is a subsystem of the Geetham University. GIT is the subsystem of Geetham University. So when we talk about GIT as a system and our ECE department is the subsystem. If you take the GIT as the system, then your department becomes a subsystem. Okay. So when you take your department as a system, then your UG and PG programs becomes the subsystems. Okay. If you take the UG program as a system, then first year, second year, third year, fourth year are the subsystems. So like that, so we have a system. The first one is the system. The system, top one is system. You can say system. System. Okay. So next to CPU is the subsystem of the system. CPU, central processing unit, is the subsystem of the CPU system. So this is the CPU. Now CPU is the subsystem of this top module. Okay. Next, system components are simple components are the subsystems of the CPU. Simple components. Okay. So next, logic blocks. Logic blocks are the, again, subsystems. Logic blocks. Next, in the logic blocks, there is a silicon. Silicon is the silicon or circuit. Circuits are the subsystems. Circuits, CIRCR. Circuits. Inside the circuits, there is a silicon wafers. Inside there is a silicon. Yeah. This is so like that. Each system has different subsystems. So if you take the silicon, wafer is a subsystem. Okay, single element. So with that we can go for the what? Circuits. We can build the circuits. With the circuits we can build the logic. With the logic we can go for the simple components. Okay, or comparators, like that. So with the components we can go for the what? Computer. So central processing unit. Then our complex unit, you can say this is the complex units also. You can write complex units. Okay. So then with the complex units, you can go for the, you can build the system. So like that, there is a hierarchy. This is the what? Top to down or bottom up hierarchies. Top to down means system to what? Silicon. And bottom up means silicon to system. Silicon to system. So these are the I think I hope everybody is understanding what is the subsystem. Subsystem. For example, here 4-bit adder, if you take 4-bit adder, if you take what I told you, 4-bit adder. So we have a 4 half adder. It is constitutes with the 4 1-bit full adders. 4 1-bit full adders. So where each 1-bit full adder is a what? Subsystem of the 4-bit adder. That's it. Okay. So next one, chip complexity. Chip complexity means what? The number of components. Okay. So the chip complexity always increases with the number of transistors per chip. If the number of transistors increases, generally the chip complexity also increases. Chip complexity also increases. Okay. So more components, more complexity. Less components, less complexity. Design time increases with the chip complexity. If the complexity of the chip is increases, then definitely design time is increases. Design time is increases. Okay, with the increase of the complexity of the chip, design time automatically increases because you need to what fabricate or mold, or you can keep the more devices, means definitely design time will take more. So to reduce this design complexity, my question is, so generally today electronics is in such a way that whatever the gadgets we have, they can do the varieties of tasks. For doing of this varieties of tasks, they must have different hardwares. Okay, the hardware which must be support for the doing of all the complex tasks. So that definitely whatever the hardware we have, it's a complex hardware we are having. So to reduce this complexity of the chip design time, what should we do? This is my question. So ultimate thing is design time. So generally, if more design time, it is not good, because for the technology window is only 8 weeks. So after that, the new technology definitely will come into the market. So that to encash this, that current technology, we must be come to the market as early as possible. We must be entered into the market as early as possible with the new technology. So because the design window is very narrow, our technology window is very narrow. So we must keep to encash that window. We must keep the what design time should be as less as possible. To reduce the design time, what is that one? So my answer is high regularity is required. To reduce the design time, what is the requirement? High regularity is required. What is the meaning of regularity? Suppose if I take one 4-bit adder, this is my 4-bit adder. 4-bit adder. So how can you do this? This can be done with the 4 1-bit full adders. Yes. 4 1-bit full adders. Yeah, like this. So definitely 4, this is first, this is second, this is third, this is 4 1-bit full adders. Okay. So suppose if you take this is system 4-bit adder is a system, then each and individual becomes the what? Subsystems. But here, if you reduce the design time of this 4-bit adder, what to do? Keep your design in such a way, it must be having high regularity. Means, suppose if I design 1-bit full adder, 1 block, then remaining 3 are just copy of them, just a replica of them. So that is called the regularity. So only we need to, I think we must put our efforts only more time on the only design of the 1-bit full adder. Remaining full adders need not to put any time, because if it is completed, then you can just copy it and keep it in the design. So that is the what? So whenever the design complex is definitely the number of transistors per chip is increases, the complexity of the chip is also increases, no doubt at all. So for design of this complex chips, we need more time. So our option is to reduce the design time. Only one thing, that is to keep high regularity in your design. Okay, it is your responsibility. How can you do the design of system? Okay, so wherever the subsystems are there in the system, you must be do in such a way that so there must be high regularity. What is the meaning of high regularity? So whatever the subsystem, one subsystem, that must be used many times. Thereby you can reduce the design time. So the design time of the chip can be reduced by keeping the high regularity in your design. I hope you understand, everybody. So now, yes, now see, design time increases exponentially with increased chip complexity. Yes, exactly. Design time increases exponentially with increased chip complexity. So that to reduce the design time, high regularity in the VLSI is required. That is my, what is that one solution? Due to the high regularity, few system components, subsystem components. Okay, due to the regularity means replication, same components. Okay, you should be used more number of times. Okay, due to regularity, few subsystems replicated many times and interconnected them to form a fish tube. This is the solution. I hope you understand. Whenever you are coming to the subsystem design, okay, definitely system is having many subsystems. So in the subsystem design, okay, in the system design, whatever the subsystem is going to design, that must be having some that must be required, that must be what having many places or can be used in the many places, okay, in the same design. Then what is that one? Your design time automatically reduces. Okay. Next one is architectural issues of your design. What are the architectural issues of a design? Yes. What is the present issues? So that we will discuss now. So first one is, listen, in the design of VLSI system, a logical and systematic approach is essential. Otherwise, it takes a long time. Yeah, there is a design procedure. There must be some structured process is there, should be there. Otherwise, if there is no systematic approach, definitely what happened? So our design will take more time. So what to do? We must be keep in such a structural process, structural way, or systematic approach, step-by-step approach. Okay. So once again, I'm telling you. So in the design of VLSI systems, a logical and systematic approach is essential. Otherwise, it will take a long time. Okay. Now come to the system requirements. What are the system requirements? We'll discuss now. The system requirements. First one is define the so always you must be keep in your mind that any design starts with a block diagram which is having number of inputs and number of outputs. That is the first one, system requirement. Define the requirement of your design, that is how many number of inputs and how many number of outputs it must be having. That is the first requirement. So here, see, this is my system. Let us say this is my system. So these are the inputs and these are the outputs. So maybe 3 inputs, 3 outputs, like that. Okay. So in this way, you can suppose, for example, if you go to design an off adder, first draw the one box. So then half adder means definitely 2 inputs must be there and 2 outputs must be there. So inputs may be XY and outputs may be sum and carry. So like this, you need to what? Define the requirement of the design first, number of inputs, how many number of inputs are there and how many outputs you are expecting. This is. Second one is divide or partition the design into appropriate subsystems. So whenever this is system, first this must be divided into the subsystems. Okay, how many subsystems as possible? You can divide it. You can divide it. Okay, so divide or partition the design into appropriate subsystems. So for example, is half adder, then you have a one exclusive OR gate and one AND gate, NAND gate or AND gate, sorry. So this is the yes. This is sum and this carry. So here your exclusive OR gate is a subsystem. Your exclusive OR gate is a subsystem. This is one subsystem, and this is one subsystem. Okay. So here in this design, there is no what regularity. There is no regularity because two are the different gates. But it's simple design. Whenever it is the design is very simple. So I think we need not to go for the regularity. But when the design is complex, to reduce the design time, go for the high regularity. Okay. Let's see. This is suppose if you assume this is a system. This is divided or partitioned into number of blocks. Each block is a one subsystem. Each block is a one subsystem. So like this. Prove the communication or sorry, provide the communication paths between the subsystem. Between this subsystem and this subsystem. So like this, we have 9 subsystems here. So between all the subsystems, okay, provide the communication paths. So provide the connecting wires between them to communicate each other. So next one. Third requirement is floor plan. So floor plan means the available silicon area. Okay. So floor available silicon area or available silicon floor is utilized for your design efficiently. So draw a floor plan of how the system is mapped into silicon. Okay. So draw the floor plan from that. Okay. So if the floor plan not satisfied, what to do? Then go to the what? Second A, B steps until floor plan is satisfied. Okay. So that is important to map the system on the silicon system. The blocks to be keep on the silicon area. For doing of that, first estimate the floor plan. Okay. Then check whether it is satisfied or not. If it is satisfied, okay. If it is not satisfied, go back to the here again. What is that one? Divide or partition the design into the approach subsystems. Then establish the communication paths between the subsystems. So do that until your floor plan is satisfied. So okay. So that is the third requirement. Then fourth requirement is aim for regularity in the system. So that system is the replication of subsystems. Yeah. In the design, definitely what I told you. So next step is after floor planning, you keep in your mind that regularity should be maintained in the system design. And fifth one is draw the suitable stick or symbolic diagram of the subsystem or component of the system. Okay. After that, go to the system symbolic and stick diagrams of the subsystem. Then check the DRC, design rule check. Okay, you need to verify for the layout. Last step is simulate the performance of each subsystems or cells. Then go for the simulation. Okay. First step is so check how many number of inputs and outputs are required for your design. Okay. Second one is what? So the entire system is divided into subsystems and establish the communication paths between the subsystems. And third one is so estimate the floor planning. Do the floor planning. So next step is what? So go for regularity. And so fifth one is symbolic or stick diagram for the subsystem. Stick for the subsystem. Stick for the subsystem and then go for the layout and DRC. Layout and DRC. Then simulation. These are the 7 steps in the or the what? So architectural issues of your design is there. Okay. These are the 7 steps we must be followed to avoid the architectural issues. Okay. So otherwise, if there is this is a systematic approach. If it is not systematic, then definitely you will get the architectural issues. Okay. Yes, next one is come to the switch logic. So before that, I can discuss with you logic implementation. What is the logic implementation? So any logic, how can you implement the logic? Logic implementation. When designing digital circuits with mass technology, so there are 2 basic approaches in building logic circuits. Okay, logic means what? Either high or low. Okay, so when you are going to designing a digital circuits with the mass technology, there are 2 basic approaches in building the logic elements or circuits. The first one is switch logic. Second one is gate logic. Switch and gate logic. These are the 2 logics we have to implement any logic. Okay. So now come to the first one, switch logic. So again in the switch logic, so usually we are using pass transistors. Already I told you pass transistors like this. This is the pass transistor. So this is the gate. This is the input. Maybe input says V in. Output may be X. Okay. So now whenever G is equal to 0, the switch is open. The switch is looking like this. Open. So that X is equal to 0. So when the G is equal to 1, gate is equal to 1, because of NMOS transistor case, the switch is closed. Okay, switch is closed and X is equal to V in. So this is the pass transistor. So pass transistor is when the gate is okay having sufficient potential, it acts as a closed switch. Otherwise, it acts as an open switch. When the switch is closed, okay, the input signals are passing from this node to this node like this. Okay, so this is the pass transistor. Okay, so in the pass transistors we have NMOS pass transistors and PMOS pass transistors and what CMOS pass transistor, complementary pass switch. N pass switch, P pass switch and complementary pass switch. We have 3 switches. Of course, it is a N pass switch. If you want P pass switch, then you can take like this. So this is my PMOS transistor. This is the gate. This is the V in input voltage, and this is the X is the output node. So as you know the PMOS operation, when the gate is 0, the switch is closed. Okay, the switch is closed, short circuited, and X is equal to input V in. So whenever G is equal to 1, with the logic 1 is applied at the gate of the PMOS transistor, what happened? It is act as an open switch. Then X is equal to 0. So this is the P pass and this is the P pass switch. This is the N pass switch. Okay, third one is complementary switch. Complementary switch means, so this is the one P pass switch and this is the one N pass switch. You can join like this and apply the input here and collect the output here. So this is the P pass and this is the N pass. Both the switches are there. So for example, this is, you can say GP and this is the GN. Okay. So whenever GP is equal to GN is equal to 0, for 0 input, for the 0 gate potential, so what happened? PMOS is on, and NMOS is off. This is off and this is on. So that signal is passing like this direction. So whenever GP is equal to GN is equal to 1, what happened? So your P pass transistor is off and N pass transistor is on. So that, so this is off and this is on. So the current is now, signal is passing like this via N pass transistor. So this is the what? Third one, complementary. So you can show this symbol is like this. Yes. This is like this. This symbol is symbol of this complementary pass switch. The other name of complementary pass transistor, pass switch is nothing but transmission gate. Transmission gate. Okay. So this is the what? Pass transistor is what? It passes the signal from one side to another side when the suitable gate potential is applied. It is acting as a switch, open and close. We have 3 different types of pass switch, transistor switches. One is the N pass switch, one more is the P pass switch, one more is the transmission gate or complementary pass switch. Okay. So I hope everybody is understanding. Okay. So now, what are the advantages with the pass transistor switches? Pass transistor logic do not take static current from the power supply, and power dissipation is due to the change in only input changes. Change in input. So generally, if you take the pass transistor logic, any one of this logic, okay. So all comes under the pass transistor logic. So there is no static current. There is no static current from the derived from the power supply VDD. Power supply is the VDD here. No static current is derived from the power supply VDD. And power dissipation is only due to the input change, not due to the current is flowing from source to supply VDD to the ground. Okay, that is the advantage. So pass transistor logic is very advantage because of the power consumption is less. Okay. Now come to the N pass switch. Already I explained. So this is the N pass switch. Okay. So generally, this is the NMOS transistor. Okay. When the gate is equal to 1, of course, the switch is closed and output is 0 for 0. Okay. So for if the input is 1, then output is 1. So generally, for N pass transistor, goodness is it can produce strong logic 0, but it can produce weak logic 1. Why weak logic 1 means? Suppose input is VDD logic 1, output D is equal to. So VDD minus the device threshold voltage VTH. So this is the logic 1. Whenever the input is logic 1, the output is input minus threshold voltage. The switch is closed. So this is not equal to VDD. That is called the what weak logic 1 will produce. Suppose G is equal to 0, the switch is open, output is 0, no question. So that you have a strong logic 0, but weak logic 1. Okay. So another one is, see this equation. In this equation, V of D, voltage at the terminal D is equal to, so we have two values, minimum value of Vs minus VTH, comma Vs. For example, so whenever the gate is zero, so this is open, so that input may be 0 or 1. Whenever it is closed, so that is equal to V of D is equal to, so minimum value of Vs may be VDD minus VTH, VDD minus VTH, minus Vs is what? VDD. Yeah. What is the minimum value in these two terms? The minimum is only VDD minus VTH. VDD minus, this is the minimum value. This is the output. Okay. So, and one more thing. See, here is whenever the source is 0 and gate is 0, when the gate is 0 means it acts as an open switch, so that D terminal is in the floating mode. Whenever source is 0, okay, but gate is 1 means the switch is closed, so that D is equal to 0. So whenever the source is 1 and gate is 0, still your transistor is open. So open switch, so that the output is at the floating mode. So when gate is 1, transistor is closed. If the S is 1, then D is also 1. This is the N-pass switch. So all the things, truth table and output equation and what description. Yes. After this, go to the P-pass switch. Yeah, this is the P-pass switch. Already told you this is symbol of P-pass transistor. Okay. As you know, whenever G is equal to 0, this is on. Okay, G is equal to 0. This is on. This switch is closed, and output is equal to 0 for the input 0. But this output 0 is ideal for 0 input, for 0 gate potential. Output is 0 is ideally correct, but practically output is equal to 0 minus VTH1. So because the transistor is already on, the potential is what? VTH of P, the P transistor VTH mod, otherwise you can say take. So that's why you will not get 0. So that's why I told you weak logic 0. For example, if the G is 0, okay, this is closed, which is closed. Now if the input is applied here, output is, what is that one? So VDD, not minus, plus VTHP, because the threshold voltage of the PMOS transistor is negative. So minus of minus plus it becomes. So this is more than 1. Okay. So that strong logic 1. Weak 0, strong 1. If you take the output voltage, output node potential, so VD of is equal to maximum of Vs plus VTH minus Vs. Here if you take in this case, so that is equal to max of, so this is the VGS plus VTH, VDD plus VTH, VTHP, comma. So what is the Vs? Whenever the logic 1 means VDD. Yeah, this is. What is the maximum value of these two terms? This is the maximum value. So that, so VD is equal to, so drain potential terminal voltage is equal to, so VDD plus VTHP. That is. This is the what? From this you can understand one thing. Your P-pass switch, PMOS pass transistor is a strong 1, weak 0. So I can conclude here. Your N-pass which is having, so strong 0, weak 1. So P-pass is weak 0 and strong 1. So because of, to avoid these drawbacks, weak 1 in the NMOS and weak 0 in the PMOS, we are going to the transmission gate or complementary switches. So in this, what happened? So this weak 1 and weak 0 can be avoided. Yeah, this is the truth table. So when the gate is 0, your switch is on. If the now input is 0 means output is also 0. If the gate is 1 means your switch is open, so that if the input is 0, output is float. So if the gate is 0, then switch your transistor is on, and if the input is 1, then output is also 1. So if the gate is 1, the switch is open, then if the input is 1, then it is floating. Whenever the gate is open, whenever the switch is open, the output is in the floating. Okay. When the switch is closed, the output is same as the input. Yeah, these two are the, one is the N pass, one more is the P pass switches. Okay. Now transmission gate. Third type is transmission gate. See, this is the transmission gate symbol. Yeah, this is the like this, as I told you. So for each case, one transistor is on. So suppose for 0, both are, if 0, this is on, this is off. Okay, this is on, this is off. For 1, this is off, this is on. So that the direction of the switches, the signal flow is also bidirectional. Okay. Yes. Let us take one example about pass transistor logic. Pass transistor logic. Take this first example. Remember, take this first example. This is my PMOS pass transistor, P pass transistor, otherwise you can say. So here, this is the signal I am applying. This is the signal I am applying. So, case one means 0 input. Case 2 means 5 volts input, means VDD or logic 0, logic 1, you can say. Consider whose threshold voltage is 1 volt. PMOS threshold voltage is 1 volt. Okay. So what is the formula I have given for the case 1? Okay. Case 1. Suppose this is always on because of 0 volts is applied at the gate of the PMOS. This is always on. Okay. Now input is first case 0 volts. So what is the formula? So the voltage at the output node Vx is equal to maximum of VB plus VT, comma VA. So VA is this one, VB is here. Okay, VT is the threshold voltage. So that is equal to maximum. So what is the VB value? 0 volts. 0 plus what is threshold voltage? 1 volt. 1. Of course, it's minus, but so VB minus VTH, minus becomes plus, comma VA value is 0. So what is the maximum value here? 1 volt. So instead of 0, you got 1 volt. Instead of, if you give the 0 input, 0 volts input, you got 1 volt. So this is the, I think it is undesirable thing. It is undesired output you got. You got undesired output. Second case means 5 volts input. Now use the same formula. Same Vx is maximum of, so 0 plus 1. This is 0 plus threshold voltage is 1, comma input is 5 volts, then 5 volts. So this is the good one. If the input is 5 volts, output is also 5 volts. If the input is 0 volts, you got output as 1 volt. So that I can explain as, I can conclude as, so P pass has weak logic 0 and strong logic 1. Yes. And one more thing, take this N pass transistor, same formula. Okay, but here is the threshold value is 1 volt. So that minimum value of you can write here VB minus VT, okay, comma, so VA is the formula. In this formula, 5 volts is input now. So VB is 5 volts. Okay, gate potential is 5 volts. Input is 0, case 1. 0. So 5 minus 1 comma 0 is equal to, we got 4 comma 0. We got 0 volts. For 0 input, we got the 0 output. So for case 2, input is 5 volts. Then minimum of 5 minus 1 comma 5. So 4 you got. So generally, if the input is 5 volts, the output must be 5 volts. But you got 1 volt less than the input. So this is the weak logic one. Weak logic one. So this is the two things with explanation. See, here is a conclusions. Output logic levels are degraded VTH. NMOS is not good for transmitting logic 1. Output of logic levels are degraded with VTH by VTH. PMOS is not good for the transmission of logic 0. These are the conclusions. So see, this is the AND gate. So to realize the AND operation, so two pass transistors should be connected in series. So X is equal to Y if A and B. Suppose Y is equal to what? Y is equal to, you can say X into first one, X into A, then B, X into, so A dot B. Suppose whenever this is 0, 0, two are open, and Y is equal to 0. If 0, 0 means output you got 0. So A, B, and Y. Suppose 0, 1, 0, 1. If it's 0, this is 1. And this is open, no signal. This is on, but no use. This is off. So that Y is still 0. Still 0. Suppose this is 1, this is 0. Even though output is 0, because any one of the transistor is open, then output is 0. Last combination is 1, 1. If both are ones, then the two switches are on, then the signal is passing like this. Then Y is equal to X. Y is equal to X. So this is the truth table of, this is looking like a truth table of AND gate. So that to realize the AND gate, we can arrange the pass transistors in the series. So that's why I can write finally Y is equal to AB. Y is equal to AB. Similarly, this is the OR gate. To get the OR operation, the pass transistor should be connected in the parallel. So if you check this one, AB and Y, if both are zeros, so both will be off and output is 0. If A is 0, B is 1. If this is 1 means this is closed and signal is passing like this. So that Y is equal to X, Y is equal to X. 1, 0, this is off, this is on, so that now signal is passing like this. So that now output is X. 1, 1, both will be on, and you have a, so it choose the low resistance path, then output is equal to X. So see, this is the truth table. This truth table is similar to the OR operation, so that you can write the Y is equal to A plus B. This is the OR operation. Okay. Students, hello? Students,